I followed Monday's complimentary winner here on the video report with Clemson and Alabama going over in your national title game with another winner in the ACC last night as Virginia got the job done at home against Clemson. And today I've got two more complimentary plays. They're both in the Atlantic 10, the Battle of the Rams between Fordham and Virginia Commonwealth, plus St. Louis and Duquesne. Keep in mind, because Chuck O'Brien won with that college basketball release on Monday night, which you got for free as the charity play of the week, you can save $125 off the purchase price of any handicapper's 30-day package. It doesn't necessarily have to be Chuck's. It can be anybody here at the site by using coupon code SAVE125. Or you can save $50 off the purchase price of any handicapper's 7-day package. So if there's a guy you like, there's NFL action this weekend, you want to save $50, get his 7-day package by using coupon code SAVE50. Should you ever have any questions how the coupons work, you can always contact customer service. And by the way, if you have not yet made a donation, please do so. All you've got to do is scroll down here underneath my video report and click on the link. Tonight, I've got the 10th ever 20-dime college basketball play of my career going. And it's on another Atlantic 10 game, the game between Rhode Island and St. Bonaventure. Now, I have two complimentary plays in the Atlantic 10 going here tonight. If you're doing this as long as I have, and if you happen to be doing this on your own, the one thing that I think is so important in college basketball is at the outset of the season, there are certain teams you know something about. And you are naturally going to gravitate towards those teams. But once the non-conference play really gets going, you're going to find yourself picking certain teams because you've just got your finger on the pulse of those teams. And what I have always found is that once you find those particular teams, you then start looking at them in conference play once it starts. And that's why there's a slew of games tonight. But to me, the Atlantic 10 is one of my best conferences this year. Happened to be last year as well. But this year, because of the success I had with those teams in non-conference play, and it's carried over here into regular season action. Last year it was the Atlantic 10, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the Horizon League. This year, so far, definitely the Atlantic 10 has been my strongest one. But, you know, I'll find some other ones here as play goes on. As a matter of fact, Big East would probably be number 2 so far. But you continue to go to the dance with the girl you brought throughout the season. If you haven't dipped your toes into the Mountain West Conference, what are you doing, 2 weeks from now? The Big West is one of my favorite conferences. West Coast Conference, another obscure conference, one of my favorite conferences. And a lot of these smaller conferences, I think you get much better value and you find easier winners because the lines aren't as sharp, because everybody's concentrating on the Power 5 conferences. So it's just something to remember, especially as we approach March Madness here, which, hey, guys, FYI, we're under, about 2 months away. And FYI, we're also like 33 days or 34 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. Can you believe it? It's almost around the corner as we're freezing our asses off. But again, it bears something to keep in mind because once March Madness starts, you have all these teams from conferences you haven't paid attention to all year long. Suddenly, don't start putting money on those teams that you're clueless about. You won't find me doing it, and I do it for a living. You shouldn't either. Okay, let's get to the complimentary plays here. Like I said, all your other coupons, etc., over on the homepage. The first game I'm going to take a look at is, let's see, run these in chronological order for you. They're both at 7 o'clock, so let's coin flip. I'm going to go with, let me just look here. I just want to check one thing here on a line here. You got to love live video reports, guys. I should have probably looked at this 1 second before starting this. Yes, I wanted to check on the Duquesne line. So right now, Duquesne is an 8.5-point favorite. And I know Duquesne has struggled here of late. Matter of fact, 5 straight losses the Dukes are coming off of, including their last one to George Washington by 27 and Davidson by 11. They also lost at home to Dayton by 8 and Georgia Tech by 6. But think about those opponents. George Washington, Dayton, Georgia Tech team that just knocked off Virginia last Saturday, and Davidson, a good team, albeit an injury-riddled one. Not exactly like they're playing little sisters of the poor. They had won 4 straight and 7 of 8 with the lone loss to Pittsburgh otherwise before that game. Now, what has hurt Duquesne here of late is that they lost one of their senior guards, a point guard, Jeremiah Jones, to a torn ACL back in, December 19th. And another one of their starting guards, Michael Mason, has been bothered by a nagging ankle sprain. He missed 2 games. He's played the last 2, but he's not 100%. And consequently, it can be shown in their offense, because this is what the Dukes were counting on this season, to be a highly potent offensive team. But they've struggled putting points on the board here of late. They have struggled, in terms of their shooting percentage as well. Last 5 games, I'll give you an example. Last 5 games, they're hitting only 36.6% of their shots. They're only hitting 21.2% of their shots from beyond the arc. The prior 11 games, they shot 50% from the field, hit almost 39% from Tripleville. Guys, everything's cyclical. The team is going to break out of a slump. And what better team to break out against than a miserable team in St. Louis? I mean, the Billikens aren't any good. They're off a 72-56 home loss to Virginia Commonwealth on Sunday. Do you know they only had 2 first-half field goals in that game? Now, the fact that they were only down by 4 points at halftime speaks more to VCU's inability to play well in the first half. But, hey, the Billikens went 7 minutes, the first 7 minutes of that game, without even getting on the scoreboard. They were shut out the first 7 minutes. 4th time in 5 games they've been held under 60 points. 21 turnovers in the game. Of course, that is VCU's calling card. They force like 17.8 per game, so that's really not a surprise. Now, it is true. They did shock George Washington 65-62 in their prior game as a 9.5-point dog. It's an anomaly. I mean, it was just one of those things, because they've only won 2 of their last 11 games. One was against George Washington. The other one was against Alabama A&M. So much for that 4-0 start against a bunch of cupcakes. St. Louis 8-23 against the spread in its last 31 line games on the road. They've lost their last 10 conference road games by an average of 17 points. They've lost the last 6 conference road games by double digits. They were out-rebounded in 8 of their last 10 conference road games. Among them, a 79-66 loss at Duquesne a year ago. So that's why I'm going with the Iron Dukes. The other play in the Battle of the Rams, I'm going to go with VCU at home against Fordham. Fordham coming off a 93-82 loss at home to Richmond. They've started conference play 1-3. Their lone win, laying 5 they laid 9 and beat LaSalle by 5 at home. Otherwise, they lost at Boston College by 11. They lost at George Washington by 6. They lost their season opener against Texas Arlington. Then they won 9 straight games, and everybody thought, oh, maybe Fordham's a pretty good team. But who did they beat in those 9 straight wins? I mean, Colgate, Central Connecticut, Long Island, Brooklyn, Coppin State, Maine. Not exactly murderer's row here. Meanwhile, VCU's coming off a nice little road sweep. Beat St. Louis, as I just mentioned earlier, 72-56 on Sunday. Nipped St. Joe's as a 2.5-point road dog, 85-82 on Hawk Hill. I think it was last Thursday night. They've won 6 in a row straight up. They've gone 4-0 ATS in the game's line during that 6-game stretch. They've got a great defense, 65.3 points allowed per game. They're laying 13.5. I think because they struggled offensively in the first half at St. Louis this past Sunday, I think you're going to see VCU play a much better offensive game tonight. I think they win this one by 17 or so points. So again, VCU and Duquesne are your 2 complimentary plays. That'll do it, guys. Best of luck to you all, and I'll catch you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.